I've got 5:30, Wendy.
All righty. Hi, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the Bridgewater Conservation Meeting. It is the 22nd of February. We have a quorum, so we can begin the meeting. It is now 5:30 p.m. And for the record, the members and staff present are Harry Bailey, Marilyn McDonald, Eileen Prisco, Bob Ruley, the Director of Community and Economic Development, and myself, Wendy Smith. I'll now read the governor's order for online meetings into the record. Disclosure pursuant to Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. This meeting of the Conservation Commission for the town of Bridgewater will be hybrid and accessible to the public through remote participation to the greatest extent possible. There will be no public attendance permitted. Citizens who wish to tune into the meeting may do so via Zoom. The link or dial-in phone number are listed on bridgewaterma.org website. For tonight's meeting, we will open to public comment, having to deal with anything wetland related, not on the agenda for the evening. Then we have public hearings. We have new business and ANRAD for 192 Spring Street, a notice of intent for 225 Whitman Street. We have old business, the notice of intent for Lake Shore Center. I will say that the attorney has requested a continuation till our next meeting, which will be on March 28th. We cannot have a meeting on the 14th, so our next meeting is the 28th of March. And then we have Conservation Commission business, administrative items regarding our minutes and adjournment. So with that, we can open the meeting for public comment. If there's anybody online that has any questions or concerns regarding conservation, wetlands, anything that's not related to anything that's on the agenda for the evening, you may do so at this time. You can use your raise your hand that's at the bottom of your screen, or you can type in the chat that you would like to speak, or you can wave at Bob and let him know that you would like to have something, you have something to say. And if you do, we just ask that you say your name and address for the record, please.
Jean has her hand raised.
Okay.
Let me unmute her once I find her.
That went by really quick, so I just want to ask, did you just say that the Claremont Hotel project has been continued to, I think it was March 28th?
March 28th, yes.
So
requested a continuance, yep.
Okay, so that's not going to be discussed tonight then?
No, it's taken off until then.
Okay.
Third party review being done, so that's off the table for tonight.
Okay. I just have one other question, which is, when that does occur, the public will be able to speak in reference to that project, correct?
Yeah, we were just waiting to get all the information ahead of time so that everything can be said at the same time, and then the public can comment on or ask questions regarding it. That's what we're waiting on.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, that's all I wanted to know.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mark has his hand up, so.
Mark Peterson, 43 Church Street. I just have a question about the process of reporting maybe violations of wetland protection or even orders of condition of projects. I'm wondering if there is a process to do that and what that would be.
If
yeah, I was gonna relate it. I was gonna say
yeah, if you think there is a violation or something not consistent with an order of conditions, I would suggest you put that in the form of a letter and address it to the Conservation Commission through the CED office.
Could it be an email or a letter?
It's better that it's a letter, but you can send it as an attachment to an email.
so it would be sent to right now, your office?
Yeah, and then we'll forward it to the entire commission.
Okay.
Not seeing any other hands up.
You all set with that, Mark?
Actually, just because I have sent an email about a couple prior projects. I'm just wondering if it's been received. Those
They were,
Yeah.
but I mean, if your intention is to ask the Conservation Commission to take action, then specifically say that that's the intent of why you're communicating
In the email?
in the letter.
Yep.
Okay, and just say, okay,
Possible violation is all you kind of like, possible violation,
Right.
and that sends them out to take a look.
thank you.
Well, we have received correspondence from you, Mark.
Okay.
I have received a couple correspondences.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments regarding conservation? If
Not
not-
seeing any hands.
Okay. All right, so now we go to public hearings. We have new business. We have the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for 192 Spring Street, map 22, lot 7. The applicant representative is Timothy Hashem, Silva Engineering Associates. Is who's on, Larry or Rebecca?
Can you read the legal?
Oh, my goodness, thank you, yep, yep. I have in parentheses, read add, so I don't forget. I took a picture of it, okay. 192 Spring Street, Bridgewater, legal notice, public hearing notice, Conservation Commission, Bridgewater, Mass. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, in the Town of Bridgewater Local Bylaw, the Bridgewater Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Thursday, February 22nd, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. for review of an abbreviated notice of resource area delineation. The public hearing will be held as a virtual meeting over Zoom. A link and instructions to participate in the meeting will follow and be posted on the calendar on the town's website at bridgewaterma.org. The applicant seeks approval of a wetland line as well as riverfront area. The property is identified as Assessors Map 22, Lot 7, 192 Spring Street. All interested persons are encouraged to attend. And we do have green cards have been received for all abutters. So with that, we can open to the engineer if they're going to be on, or the applicant.
Good evening. I am Larry Silva from Silver Engineering Associates.
Good evening,
I'm
Larry.
filling in for Rebecca.
Hey.
She warned us.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She's
You see
gone.
her more often than you see me. So this one here, if I did this right, you should be able to see the plan. Is that correct?
I see. Well, I see it on my board. We don't see it on the shared board,
Yeah,
so.
you didn't do it right. Yeah, you have the ability to share your screen.
Yeah, and I pushed that. I shared the screen.
You have the document open. You
Yes, I do.
Should be able to click on it and it should come up because we're not seeing it.
Yeah, seeing it.
How do you see it, Marilyn? That's weird.
I have a double screen, so I have the agenda on my other screen, but he's not on the shared screen, so that's why I'm seeing it. Just
Oh.
my computer setup.
Can you see that now? You don't see it now.
No,
They'll see you.
It's saying that I'm on screen 1. It's saying that I'm sharing screen 1.
No, that's because you've got multiple screens open on your side.
I do.
Yeah, well, that doesn't, so it's showing up on, it's not showing up on the screen that we're seeing you. You've got to close those other screens down.
Oh, I
Oh, yeah,
guess-
we're missing Rebecca already.
I was just gonna say, we need to call Rebecca.
It says, select the window or application that you want to share, and I put screen 1. And you're obviously not seeing it on that one, right?
Still you.
Still me, huh? Oh, boy.
How many screens do you have? Do you have two?
I
or
have
three?
2 screens. And I have it here, and it's the screen 1 and screen 2. The one that is behind there, I can
Are you seeing it on one of your screens, Larry?
yeah, I am.
Did you try clicking up top and moving it over to your other monitor?
Can you
I'll
drag
try
it?
that. How's that?
Nope, didn't work.
It didn't work?
No,
Oh, okay.
it was a thought, but it didn't work.
Taking out a photograph of Rebecca right now.
What's that?
It's
Never
being
mind.
fresh.
He's being fresh, isn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm seeing the one that's saying, oh, share it. How about that?
There you go.
That's,
Hey,
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 yay!
take that, Rebecca, okay? Okay, so you can see here, that's the this property is located, if you get up in the locust there, you can see that it's located at the intersection of where Plymouth Street and Spring Street come together.
Mhm.
Okay, and the line as it's shown in here is pretty linear going, from Plymouth Street and going sort of in a northerly direction going back towards the town river. There is a section of town river in the back. Most of it is off the site, but there is riverfront that's as part of this, and you can see how we've shown the
The one-
delineation of the 100 and the 200-foot limits of the riverfront. And we've shown what we believe to be the buffer zone, which is the yellow one, and the 25-foot no touch, which is the red one that we're showing there. Silver Engineering did the field work, located the flags. This was our client, Mr. Hashem, had the delineation done by South River Environmental. You can see, I think you can see on there his report there,
Mhm.
in which he identified that there is an intermittent stream along the right side off the property, and that the town river is to the back of the parcel. There's also this shows the limits of the floodplain in that area, which we have delineated. If I go back up here, I'm actually getting good at this now. See that? Okay.
Oh,
You can see that we have the limit as elevation. I believe that it's 31, and that's the limit of the floodplain in this area, based on FEMA.
Mhm.
There was some communication back from the DEP,
Right.
and they raised, there were some questions that they asked of the wetland scientist, and then he did have a response to it. Let's see, did I go by this response? I think his response, and that's John Zimmer. And he provided up above, as you can see, he provided his stream stats information for the intermittent stream, showing that the intermittent stream is shown on the current USGS map, has a watershed of less than 1 square mile, and it's intermittent unless the stream has a watershed of at least 1/2 square mile, and a predicted flow of greater than or equal to 0.01 cubic feet per second at the 99% flow duration. Okay, so he actually provided a response to the questions that were raised when the file number was issued. And he provided the stream stats information as well. So those have gone to the commission, and they have gone to Whitney over at the DEP as well. Let's see.
if for some reason on the thing that they sent us, I'm not seeing anything. I don't know about the rest of you guys. I can't see anything under DEP comments. I wonder if it's under it.
It was in the file because I
Well,
have,
I have it here, I believe. Down below here is when they issued the file number.
All right, thank you.
You see it? And that's when they asked the question at that point.
Yeah, I'm just looking for where it is on mine. All right, I'll keep looking. Go ahead, Larry. Sorry.
I had a question though, Larry, while you're in these documents right here, there was another thing that was mentioned about the mean annual high water line. It needs to be on the plan. Do you know if that got put on the plan?
The mean.
Mean
I know
annual,
that the floodplain was put on there.
mean annual high water line, because she made a comment about how it's from the high water line that the measurements need to be, I guess.
Well, she was showing it. I don't think that it's actually called out that way. But it can be called out that way on a revision to it.
And I can't get to it to read exactly what it said.
Yeah, there's no actual, and if you look
Oh,
up.
that's probably, maybe it's from the town river. Maybe it's from the river. Not necessarily the wetland part.
Yeah. But remember now, some of this, intermittent stream and so that's off-site.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the town river is off-site, just in that one little corner. You know, so there are some limitations as to,
Yep.
you know, where you can actually delineate things on, you know, on the ground here. So the wetlands are clearly on the site. But as far as complying with that note, we will add that to the plan so that, you know, so that DEP would be satisfied with that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And I would say that it's a pretty well-defined kind of limits here, because the topography just, you know, it's not a real flat topography. It does drop down considerably. So it makes it a lot easier to follow it. Because the site's up in the 31 up to into the high 40s, and then that intermittent stream area is down around 29, elevation 29.
Mm-hmm.
spot.
That looks good.
And this is obviously as a precursor to determining or doing any kind of concepts as to what they might be able to do in this area. It's in the central business district, and just want to be sure that we know the limitations before we take any new steps.
Sure.
You can see there's a sewer easement that goes, I should have pointed that out, is that there is a sewer easement in the back of the site. On the left side of that, of the plan, you can see this 30-foot wide sewer easement coming up and going, and that's going right over to the treatment plant.
All right.
So that's all I have, and I can answer whatever questions, as long as they're not hard ones that I need Rebecca, right?
Okay, thank you, Larry. And if you
Okay.
could figure out how to stop sharing your screen, that would work. Unless anybody needs to see anything. Bob, do you have any comments on this?
I don't.
Okay. Commission members, anybody have any comments, concerns, questions?
Yeah, I'm just getting the plan back up. I'm Larry, I'm assuming all the flags are out there?
Yes,
All right, I'm gonna go do a walkabout. And that bordering land subject to flooding is by, oh my God, I need 2 glasses. All right,
it
nope,
would not,
nope.
that would not be,
I'm just seeing what flag is there. Okay.
it's gonna be, the wetland line is what you'll see out there.
Yeah, but I just noticed a bordering line. I was just gonna look at that too. I can see the wetland flag number. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much following it pretty close. There's only one area where it's a little bit, it's all grayed in there.
I know I want to go.
I think that's what she was asking for, was for that area to be shown. So. I think it just needs to be labeled a little clearer, that's all.
Yeah, I can read the thing. All right, so that's kind of my only question right now. I do want to go out and take a peek.
Sure.
Yeah, the flags are out. I mean, so I'm good. Harry, Eileen, any comments?
Yeah, I know, I would like to go take a look at it too, because I remember this property from way back, and something isn't, I don't know, I'd like to take a look physically at the back of the property, I guess.
Harry?
Does this have a history? that I don't
I'll go
know?
out. I'll go out on my own. You two can go out. If you have anything, then I can go out single with you.
Okay.
Okay. So we won't have to do this as a quorum then. Wendy, do you want to get out there?
If I can, when you guys do or not. If
Okay.
it's a thing of a meeting, you can take a look.
Well, we
and
can do it
see
in two, if we do it in
Well, like we
twos,
did before.
like
You
before,
and-
I
you
went
and
out with
can
Eileen,
do
then
it.
came back, went out with you, we can always
Yep.
do it in twos, we don't have to.
Yeah,
do
we
it
could do
one.
that.
And Harry's local on this one, he can do it too, so we can do doubles on this one, and it's,
Get it done faster that way too.
yeah, and it's not like we're going out in the risky, wooded area by ourselves with creepy men hiding behind trees, right, Eileen?
They've done that.
Been there, done that, is right.
So Larry had asked if there was a history with this property. Was there something else that was out there before?
Well, no, I was actually asking, Eileen said that she remembered property or something rather, so I thought maybe she knew something more than I did about this.
I
property.
know, I just remember being on the property for something probably 25, 30 years ago. And I just said, maybe we should just take a look at the flags and everything, make
Yep.
sure it's okay, but I have no issues, no.
Okay. So let me ask,
Probably
oh,
getting good to
is
get
anybody,
cleaned up
any
out there.
abutters, are any abutters on that have anything that they need to ask about or concerned with? Again, you can use the raise your hand on the bottom, or you can wave at Mr. Ruley.
You're extending that to butters or other members of the public.
I suppose.
Still not seeing any hands.
Okay. All right, so if we're gonna do a site walk, here's a question. Can I close it and then we just make our determination at the next meeting, or should I leave it open and just
It-
continue?
I think you can close it as it relates to the ANRAD, and if Larry's gonna come back with an NOI, you'll be one step ahead of him by having done the site visit already.
Okay,
And I would just say if you're going to make a motion to approve the ANRAD, subject to the comments that were made in terms of adding additional information to the plan.
okay, yeah, that's if we're gonna close it. I mean, if,
We're just gonna close it.
Yeah, we're just gonna close it, because we gotta go out and site walk it, and I mean, we won't have a quorum until the March
28th.
But we could, if it's closed, we can still do our stuff on that meeting and approve or ask for anything else.
All right,
It's 500 and something feet, right, Larry? It's not a huge land.
No, it's pretty manageable.
Yeah, so I don't foresee needing a third party on this. I think the conservation can handle this line, and it's a small line, so we should be good. I'm comfortable closing it if the chair wants to entertain a motion.
okay. So someone want to entertain a motion to close? This-
Madam Chair, if I could just interject for a moment.
Oh,
There's
sure.
a comment in the chat from, I believe, Janet Hanson asking what's going to be built there. We don't know yet.
I don't know.
This is
Right.
just solely for purposes of the ANRAD.
Delineating the wetlands.
Right.
Only
Okay.
the wetlands.
So does someone want to entertain a motion to close?
I would entertain a motion to close the ANRAD filing on 192 Spring Street, map 22, lot 7, DEP file number SE 116-1539.
Second.
Thank you. I do,
Any
Um,
further discussion, Wendy?
no, any further discussion, anyone?
We'll just do some sidewalks and we'll go from there.
Okay, do we need to do we have to do a motion to continue?
You need to do a roll call
We-
vote.
we need to
I
do a
was
roll
wondering
call.
that too. Okay, so we need a roll call vote for the closed hearing. Marilyn,
Aye.
Eileen?
Aye.
Harry,
Aye,
and myself, aye.
Now you need a motion to accept the
Yes.
application for the ANRAD.
To accept the application?
Well,
Or to-
for him to go forward to do the ANRAD.
What? I'm not understanding what you're saying, Bob.
I thought I was just gonna motion to continue, because we're gonna come back on it.
No, he's coming back with an NOI application.
Yeah, but we just closed the meeting on an ANRAD. We're gonna go out and take a look, and then on the next meeting, we can vote whether we're approving or disapproving.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need a motion to continue?
No, we made the motion to close it. Yeah, we motion to continue to,
Doesn't Larry have to ask for that?
or we voluntarily closed it unless he wanted.
Well, I thought we had to have the applicant request that.
Eileen, have the applicant ask what?
To continue.
Oh, well, I think we're continuing it because we can't close it until we have a chance to get out and walk. We just don't need to really discuss any more of it. I mean, it looked good. There was no discussion about it, but we do need to check on it.
The commission can continue the first one, the applicant after that request.
I just want to make sure it's done right.
Thank you. So someone want to make a motion?
We closed it.
We did. Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the continued thing.
I
in
think that
there.
Molly
Okay.
stuff got us all going.
Very. Continued to 328. So we're continued to 328. Larry, okay?
Yes,
All right.
Thank you.
thank you very much.
I know
Yes,
that.
thank you.
Thank you.
But I think he's up next too. So
Yeah.
next up on the agenda under new business, we have a notice of intent for 225 Whitman Street, map 23, lot 776. And then it says part of, not sure what that is. Applicant representative is Park Realty Trust, Silva Engineering Associates is the engineer, and I will read the notice. 225 Whitman Street, Bridgewater, legal notice, public hearing notice, Conservation Commission, Bridgewater, Mass. In accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Town of Bridgewater Local Bylaw, the Bridgewater Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Thursday, February 22nd, 2024, at 5:30 p.m. for review of a notice of intent. Public hearing will be held as a Zoom virtual meeting over Zoom. A link and instructions to participate in the meeting will follow and be posted to the calendar on the town's website at bridgewaterma.org. The proposed work is construction of a single-family house with driveway, septic, and associated grading within the buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands. The property is identified as a portion of Assessors Map 23, Lot 76, 225 Whitman Street. All interested persons are encouraged to attend. All green cards were sent in, so we have all abutters notices. So with that, Larry, you're up again.
Okay, let's see if I get any better at this. So this is Larry Silva from Silver Engineering Associates. So I am going to share this screen. And how do we do?
You did fine.
Excellent.
First shot, just like that, you know?
Good job.
You might think I've been doing this a lot, right? So, okay, so this is the actual lot. And in that notice, when you read it, Wendy, you made reference to the fact that it was part of
Mhm.
a larger piece, right? So let me just show you what that means. Is that this was a division of land that was done. There's a large piece that goes way back to the town river. Okay, and we're really talking about this little lot right here, this lot 1,
Okay.
that's way out at the street. Okay, nothing that we're doing here is even remotely close to where the river is or anything related to that. And so it's just about that lot 1, which is about an acre and a half in size. It's for a single family house. And as you can see, this wetland is just in this little area here. And most of this, if you can see on the Whitman Street itself, there's a paved swale. So this is really became sort of a depression area because there was a house that was built to the left of this on Whitman Street. This water gets kind of trapped in there, and that's where the town's drainage just goes into that area.
Mhm.
You know, there was no, I don't think there was any formal kind of drainage easements that were ever given to the town or whatever, but that's where the water kind of goes in from that section of Whitman Street. There's another one you can see on my illustration here. There's actually another paved swale on the other side for the water that's on that side of the road that goes off, same thing. So this is a section of Whitman Street where they don't really have any catch basins and other kinds of controls. They just direct the water off the pavement into adjoining land. And that's why this wetland is here. So in essence, it's an isolated land. We did find in here that there was a makeshift kind of catch basin that somebody had put in there for when it kind of like got up high enough that they didn't want it to stay there, so they were trying to funnel it out somewhere, but we didn't see that there was any real integrity to any of that, and it was something that was done, I don't know, decades ago or whatever, but it really doesn't take water anywhere. So that's why that water kind of sits there. I think if that thing, when it was functioning, it probably kept that area maybe dry at one point. I'd hate to think that it went all the way back to the river, because that's like a long way.
That's a long way, yeah.
I don't think that that's what happened. It probably just took it to another section, but we couldn't find any evidence of it. And it was only like a little tiny pipe that was in it. And it looked like it was pretty gummed up anyway. So it's really just an isolated wetland here. The proposal here is for the driveway to be located on the right side of the property. And it will come around and then swing to the left. The house will be positioned up in this upland area to the back. And a proposed septic system would be behind it, further towards to the west. And there was a piece that was cut out of this little parcel A, because during our survey and everything, we found that this parcel A is actually the poor guy that bought this house over here. That's where his pool's located. He thought that was all part of his yard. So I think they're trying to make some sort of adjustment to be able to give him that parcel A, so he doesn't have to lose half his yard in his backyard. He had no idea.
Yeah,
Okay, so, but it doesn't affect this lot. It's already an acre and a half. There's plenty of room for the lot itself, so it's, I think it makes a lot of sense just to do that.
Mhm.
And the wetlands on his side are pretty abrupt, because where his lawn was located, that was all filled in right along that edge. So it just created this kind of puddle, basically. And it's just like I say, single family, 4-bedroom house, single family. It's Latola's house building there, Perk Realty. And pretty much that's all it really is. Grading is not all that bad. It's a little bit more abrupt on the top side here, going towards the east. It comes down a little bit more, but here it's pretty gradual going towards the resource area and stuff, and nothing is within the 25-foot touch area, which is the red line here. Nothing's proposed in there. And the reason why we're here is for the activity that's all within the yellow line right here. So
Okay.
that's pretty much it. Just one single family house.
Okay,
it's a retreat lot, right?
No, it's not a retreat lot. It's a street lot. It's got 150 feet of frontage.
Oh, I only saw 141, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's got sufficient
Wow,
frontage on the road. It's bigger than it needs to be in this area. Actually, in this area, lots can be rather small. They could be 18.5, I believe, in this area.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
an acre and a half.
Hmm.
So not being packed in, they're actually being done in a way that makes more sense with the property itself. And not just,
well, the developer's one of the better ones in town.
okay. Bob, do you have anything that you wanna, any comments or anything?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Commission? Anybody have anything they want to say? Eileen, do you have any other comments? on that?
Well, all right, very nice.
Okay. Harry?
Is the driveway partially done,
is it
so you
done?
can find it from the street?
No, this driveway is a proposed driveway.
Oh, okay. No, I'm all set.
Thanks. Marilyn?
Yeah, I'm thinking, I mean, originally I was thinking, going out, but they look like they're very clearly out of, 25-foot buffers here, and I don't think, there's a need to check it out unless somebody has a different thought, but,
No,
I'm okay with it.
Okay,
Even if we could, they'd still be in the 21 days like they are with the other MRAD for us to decide, but I think, I don't see any concern to go out and take a peek is what I'm saying.
right. I mean, it's a small, I don't really have any need to go out and see it either. I'm just curious as far as the driveway that leads out back, like, is it graded or anything towards the, I guess it would be what, the south, like to the right? Like, would it be running off any water or whatever for like ice and snow or whatever? Because it is just outside the 25 foot towards the little piece of wetland.
It gets close to this little knob right here.
Mhm.
This little knob there is the one that, if you take 25 from that, that's the one that gets closest to where
Right.
where it is. Other than that, there is you can see where the 25 is, and you can see where we're showing the siltation barrier.
Yep,
Along in there. This would be the only place where, if you had concerns about during construction, if you wanted to have that doubled up to be, wattles and a silt fence in that area, I would say maybe in this section over here. But what's
I don't
gonna-
think that's a bad, I think
Yeah.
that's the only section of concern during construction. I don't think that's a bad idea to condition it with a double barrier.
Yeah, because that's gonna end up being a block wall right there.
Mhm.
Because
Oh.
it is close, you know what I'm saying? So in
Yep.
the end, it's gonna have plenty of protection there.
So it'll have good protection with the
I-
retaining wall, so that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, so maybe during construction, if we can do that, just for runoff.
Yeah, so I would say if you condition it that way to have it,
Yeah,
then in that area, you could say within the first 100 feet of the driveway or something rather, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That would be double.
Okay, sounds good. All right, I don't have any other questions. Anybody in the meeting room that has any questions or concerns? Any abutters? Or public?
Mark Pease raised his hand.
Oh, sure. As Mark Peterson, 43 Church Street. I think on that section of Whitman Street, there's probably a lot of I'm gonna bring it up a lot, but Japanese knotweed in that area. So if they could just make sure they're not traversing,
Checking it.
bringing that in deeper into the wetland area there, or even closer to the river, because it's making its way down that area right now.
Okay, that's a good point. So we just need to maybe try to be careful of that, tracking anything out.
All that stuff needs is one good wind and it's on your lawn, so it's everywhere.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
pretty
the-
basic.
The DPW kind of moves it along the roads.
ugh,
It
okay.
is invasive.
Thank you, Mark.
Not seeing any other hands up.
Okay, thanks. So do we have enough information that we can close the hearing?
I think Chair could entertain a motion to close the hearing.
Make a motion to close the hearing on Whitman Street, Bridgewater, Mass. 220, number 225, map 23 lot 776, part of.
Okay, in a second.
Second,
Oh, 2 seconds.
Thank you. And with a second, we'll roll call vote. Eileen?
Any discussion? So, on the order of conditions, we're closing, sorry, I'm Bob Marley in it again. No discussion further I have on this, sorry.
All right, so we have a roll call vote to close the hearing. So Eileen,
Aye.
Harry,
aye,
Marilyn, and myself, I. So the hearing is closed, and then, okay, now do we want to add, before we
You
make a
could make a
to
motion, you
approve?
could entertain a motion to approve.
Okay, so, yes, anyone want to entertain the motion to approve
I'll make a motion to approve
with
225.
special conditions?
Right, Whitman Street with special conditions on the left side, or what is that, the westerly side of the driveway, 100 foot up, double riprap, or
I
so,
think it's north,
is that north?
yeah,
Yeah, the what's west,
first
okay.
100 foot north side of the
And-
driveway.
Well, it's actually on the, it's on the, it's on the westerly side of the driveway.
Yeah,
The first 100 feet is what you were saying,
the
right?
first 100 feet, right, northerly side, okay. And then the second condition was,
I
To
think, it
make
was-
sure that no Japanese knotweed
yes,
is brought in or
Knotweed.
out.
yes, so that we don't have any transference of the knotweed, Japanese knotweed.
And just to be clear on the first, that's to have both silt fence and wattles.
Okay. On that special condition.
Yep.
So, I just have a quick question. Are we just doing silk fences and not wattles all the time, or hay bales?
We're generally doing, we're
One or
generally
the other?
bottles.
Wattles, yeah.
Because I'm just used to always seeing silk fence with a wattle or a hay bale. So, are we not doing that on jobs these days?
I thought it was the wattles or
Or
the,
hay bales? Yeah, I didn't think it was just a solo silk fence.
no, I thought it was the wattles with silt, I mean, the strap, the hay with the silt or the wattles, right, Larry, is that correct?
Well, I mean, everybody has a different way of trying to approach it, but we generally approach it with wattles, unless there is something that, like in this case here, that first 100 feet, I think that it makes sense to add to that wattle, having a silt fence to make sure nothing's getting by it.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure. It definitely does need a silk fence and a wattle.
Okay. So we have the
But Harry, I
motion.
mean, Larry, you know that area better. Would a hay bale absorb more, or would the wattle be good in that area?
Well, I mean, you're talking about in that first 100 feet?
Yeah, just in that first 100 feet, would the wattle serve better, or the hay bale serve better with the
Well, I
silk
mean, I
fence?
think where the silt fence is there, I think either one will be okay. The hay bale will probably hold the silt fence better, maybe,
All right, I'm gonna condition it with hay bales then, guys,
in that first 100 feet, right?
in the first 100 feet.
That's fine.
Okay, so we have the motion with the two
Second.
conditions. Thank you, Harry. A roll call vote, Marilyn,
Aye.
Eileen,
Aye.
Harry,
Aye.
and myself, Wendy. Aye. All right. That is all set. Thank you, Larry.
All right, I thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Thanks, Larry.
I'll stop sharing, or did I already stop sharing?
No,
I stopped you already.
stopped.
You stopped me already. All right.
You
thank
did. You did.
All right,
Without
thank
even
you.
knowing it, you did.
Have a good evening.
You also.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, under old business, we would have had Zero Lake Shore Center, but as I said at the beginning of the meeting, the attorney requested a continuation till our next meeting, which will be March 28th. There is no meeting the second Thursday, due to no quorum. So next up, we have, continued the notice of intent, 1185 Pleasant Street, map 20, yep, got my numbers backwards. Map 72, lot 1. The applicant representative is the town of Bridgewater, care of Jakunski Humes Architects LLC and Strong Point Engineering Solutions. So is Eric on maybe?
Good evening, Madam Chair. It's Brian Humes.
Oh, hi,
I'm the-
Brian.
I'm the easier one to pronounce than the Jukunski Humes. So
Ah,
we are the architects, we are the applicants. We also have Eric Dias here from Strong Point Engineering Solutions. And it's good to be with you again to continue our conversation regarding the Town of Bridgewater application. Since our last presentation, there were a couple items that were mentioned on our last application review. And one of them was receiving comments through the town engineer. And we are in receipt of comments dated February 5th from the town engineer. They were conveyed to the Bridgewater Planning Board. And so we have reviewed those comments. Eric has reviewed those comments. And we take no exception to the comments. I think they are understandable. There's another item that was addressed, and there was some concern of installing utility lines, specifically water lines and fire service lines, in close proximity to the vernal pool, which was identified on the site. And toward that, Eric did forward some preventative measures that could be considered along with that installation to protect the vernal pool. So those are two items that we are aware of. We are not planning on doing a whole nother presentation, but we are here for additional questions.
Ryan, could you have Eric just walk through what preventive measures he's taking with respect to those utility lines in proximity to the vernal pool?
Absolutely.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Eric.
Eric,
For the record, Eric Dias, registered professional engineer, Strong Point Engineering. We did submit a letter to the board, to the commission. And I trust that you have a copy of it, but what we did is it's kind of a two-parter. So the first part of it gives some 12 steps basic sequence for the process of how to go about doing this and the order in which to do things. So I'll just run through those very briefly. Refresh the vernal pool delineation markers, stake the limit of the sediment along the work area, cut and remove the trees, and all the trees should be felled away from the vernal pool and removed from the work area as they are felled. Install sediment controls along the work area. We like to install those after the trees come out so they don't get disturbed when the trees fall on them, but before we stump and grub and cause additional earthen disturbance. So the next step is to stump and grub the work area, excavate the top and subsoils, trench for the water installation, install the water, test everything before backfill in this case, so we don't have to dig it up again if there's a joint that's not quite sound enough. Then backfill with previously excavated sea horizon soils, screened free from large stones, loam and seed the area, maintain that area in accord with the plan details provided elsewhere, and then remove the sediment controls only once the area is considered fully vegetated as determined by the engineer of record. So that's the basic process, but the real protection comes in the notes that follow that, where we define a few things more. So we say for the purpose of this program, the work area, quote unquote, is considered basically between the sediment controls on either side of the installation area from Pleasant Street to the main work area where it kind of opens up outside of the buffer zone. We want to install the 8-inch fire service and the 3-inch domestic service simultaneously in the same trench. So we're not doing this twice. If at all possible, we want to come into this from both sides, from the proposed building side and from the Pleasant Street side, because what that's going to do is stop us from tracking back and forth past the vernal pool any more than we need to. In an ideal world, we attack it from both sides, we meet at the middle, and then we back our way out immediately. In no case are we stockpiling within the work area. All stockpiling has to be outside of the work area, which means as you're digging, you're basically filling dump trucks, carting it out of there. And as you're backfilling, you're bringing it in dump trucks and dumping it and moving back out of there. Anything that is inadvertently tracked outside of the work area is to be removed immediately by the most appropriate and non-invasive means possible. That means whenever you can, you get the shovel brigade out there and not a piece of equipment. Inspect it every day while work is going on until the controls are removed. Somebody should put eyes on this every day for signs of sediment escaping, any of that stuff. And then the last plan is, in order to remove these controls, rather than bringing extra equipment in, things like that, the best way to do it is to just cut the tube, pull the tubes out of there, and spread the rest of the mulch just with a hand rake, and just don't direct the mulch directly toward the vernal pool. So I think we've done two things. We've established basic controls and a method by which to do this. And I guess for a third thing, we've really tried to put some oversight on this particular portion of the work.
thanks, Eric.
Sure.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so where do we go from here? Bob, do you have any comments?
I don't. I mean, I would just suggest that if a decision is made to approve the NOI, that it's done subject to the letter and recommendations that Eric just summarized.
Thanks. Marilyn?
I've got some questions. Again, great job, guys. I'm not sure I'm quite there yet. And it looks like on the engineer stuff, are you redoing some of where his suggestions were, like under comment 1 with, are you redoing your plans to reflect his comments? Will that be coming back to us?
Well, we will have to address his comments, obviously. Those will also carry over to the planning board process as well. So there is some degree of possible working together there. Certainly this commission could approve the plan subject to satisfying those comments and leave that to the discretion of the town engineer. What I will say is that I reviewed all of his comments. I think, and I don't remember exactly how many there are, they're very, very manageable. There's nothing there that I think is a big deal or is going to substantially change this project. I really believe that those comments are a matter of kind of dotting some i's and crossing some t's.
Okay, I thank you for addressing the town engineer's comments, and I'm comfortable with it, with the town engineer's review. I got just 2 more questions. One just on the overall, and if it was included somewhere and I've missed it, I apologize. But when you look at that grade, obviously you're going to have to bring soils into this project at some point.
Yes.
Do you know how many cubic yards or tons you'll be bringing in?
We've done a quantification of that at some point. I don't have that number right at my fingertips, but it is a fill site. So there will be material import coming into the site, and obviously it will be required to be clean. And oftentimes that's something that the planning board works into their conditions of approval. But it certainly is a fill site.
Okay. So I think we also have the, conservation can work it in. I mean, soils that sometimes are clean are not. There's, a simple thing of testing every, 1,000 cubic yards. That could be something that we could work out with the town and make sure that the funding is there. And that makes everybody feel a lot better knowing that the soils coming in are not, it can happen to anybody else. That's a regulated soil. So, we could either Comcom or planning put that into a condition, but that would be one condition I'd like to see with that amount of soils coming in. And again, I talked to Bob on that afterwards, but the town would be able to assist on testing needs if be. And then again, great job. I'm still just a little nervous near those vernal pools in the crossing. And I know we talked about, a second set of eyes. I'd still personally like to see, we talked about some third peer reviews. One of them that we've used, BSC, wrote the book on vernal pools, literally. Again, if there was anything that they could add, or I just personally make me feel a little bit better. Your plan is tremendous. I'm just saying there might have been something that we could, somebody else could add to that crossing in the vernal pools. So that's my suggestion. But otherwise, you're looking good. We're going to get this done.
Thank you.
I just want to make sure that we've covered every aspect.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. It would be nice to have another review of the vernal pool just for satisfaction, I guess, to be more comfortable with it. I think the plans, you're doing a great job on what needs to be done and answering things. I had a question about who's the qualified project inspector that would check it daily? Like, who determines that?
Well, that we could definitely discuss that. It could be left up to the engineer of record, which presumably by that time would be me. Could be a representative of the town if the commission is more comfortable with that. Could be somebody designated from the GC. So I think there are definitely options. What I've done on a project like this in the past, what generally works best, I find, is that somebody, either myself or somebody qualified from my office, be out there daily to check in at least. And if we have any issues, the first call is to Bob's office.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a notification, hey, Bob, something got by the erosion controls, we've handled it, here's some photos, just so it's documented, there you go.
Yep.
So whatever it is. And I wouldn't take issue to a condition like that, or, if you guys wanted to designate someone else, you could certainly do that.
The town has also employed an owner's project manager. So they do also have an OPM on board for oversight.
So would that person be the person then?
Well, I mean, I think between those three options will determine somebody. It won't be a town employee, I can tell you that.
It won't be you, Bob?
Come on, Bob, you got another hat room.
I mean, I like the idea of Eric being able to check. I just think consistency with somebody knowing like what it is from day to day and what's happening. I think consistency, one person should probably do it. Just so that they're aware of things. I like the idea of, bringing any issues if something comes up and being able to let, Bob's office know, that could let us know.
They would establish a protocol and have a daily log as to who did the inspection, what time they did the inspection, and whether or not
Okay.
they found anything. I mean, we can, whoever it is, we can work that protocol out.
All right.
Yeah. And, in a case like this where, vernal pools are sensitive and obviously we're proposing to work close to it, I would report more than just issues. So like Bob said, I would keep a daily log and hopefully, if this is a 10-day install, hopefully at least 9 of those say there were no issues that day.
Yep. Good, yeah. The other thing was the mulch, because of the vernal pool, like is it just fresh mulch that's not any colored mulch, right? Nothing running off into the vernal pool.
Yeah, I would let it be natural mulch in this case. They sometimes do compost in those tubes. I absolutely would not recommend that here. Just natural, undyed mulch. That's it.
Yep,
Perfect.
sounds good.
Mm.
Okay. Eileen, do you have any comments?
No, I'm pretty happy with everything he's done and address the water, and now we'll just deal with the vernal.
Okay. Harry, any comments, concerns?
No, I think Eric did a good job. He's got a plan and go to it.
Yep. Okay, so do we have, public, did I do that already?
Can I just make one more call? I just wanted to get the take from Eileen and the rest of you guys too with the vernal pools. We've got 21 days out till the next meeting. Am I the only one that wants to see like, that third party just take another set of eyes to see?
No, I agree. I
Okay.
agree. What
I-
about,
Oh, I do too, yeah.
Okay, all right. So Eric, again, you're doing an awesome job just offering that extra set of eyes. We're gonna be we have peer review people that we, are familiar with and know. I think, and we've said it before, I mean, BSC Group, there's a Matt Byrne that he wrote the book on vernal pools. It's just to give you an assistance. You've got the whole thing covered. Great engineering. The town engineer has got you to there, so we're very comfortable. I'm very comfortable with the engineering techno side. I just would, again, you're great. I would like one more set of eye, even if it's just one little thing that and you can do that very quickly, that could be done before our next meeting. That's just looking at that area, maybe the crossing area, and boom, you're within the timeline still.
Okay.
You guys good with that, Eric?
Can we come back to that after we have public comment?
Sure.
So there are several members of the public who have their hand up. I believe Mark had his hand up first, so I will recognize him.
okay,
Mark Peterson, 43 Church Street. I just want to bring up there's a huge stand of Japanese knotweed at the very entrance of that project, and I don't know how close that is to the vernal pool. But I really think this would be a great project in the town, because the town is the owner of the project, to have an invasive species management plan and during construction, but also in operations and maintenance of the project going forward. Mainly to protect the vernal pool, but that whole area is filled with Japanese knotweed, and there's Phragmites all down in the National Grid lot behind it. So it'd be a very, very good project for Bridgewater to maybe get its first toe in the water for managing invasive species, because they'd have full control over, getting it, identifying things that are problems and getting things resolved in short order. Because we've seen, I've seen it maybe all along town, around town, there's really big projects that have very big outbreaks of Japanese knotweed, and in my opinion, have destroyed their stormwater management systems. So it's going to destroy infrastructure. So it'll also probably affect the vernal pool and the infrastructure there too. So it'd be a great project for it. That's my comment.
Thank you for that input. Anybody have
And
any
Pat
comment? they want-
Neary also has her hand up.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Pat Neary, Lakeside Drive. I had a couple of thoughts that I would like to share. It apparently looks like this piece of land for the fire station is just too small because we are encroaching or coming close to encroaching on that vernal pool. Is there some way that land could be added from the abutters? I mean, the town hasn't had to pay for this lot, so they could probably buy some land. I mean, maybe from the real estate office next door, or I'm not sure who the other abutter is, because the vernal pool is of great concern. And maybe someone can tell me if the fire departments still use and store PFAS for their foam fighting, because that's a hazardous material these days. And will such a thing be stored at that fire station? It really should not be near a vernal pool or any of our wetlands. So I'd like you folks to try to answer those questions if at all possible. And, you know, our Massachusetts wetland regulations requires that, you know, if there are any other practical alternatives, we should try to find those or use them. And it might be, as I said, a little late in the game, but those are my thoughts, and thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Madam Chair, if I could. I don't know with respect to acquiring additional property, what that would do to compliance with our existing zoning on those. I mean, I can certainly ask that question and don't know the answer on PFAS, but that's something we can ask the fire department as well.
I think they're shied away from it, but I'm not 100% to.
I think they are.
PFAS has created a big.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're not wanting to be anywhere near PFAS materials right now, but it's a legitimate question to ask.
Absolutely.
And Melissa Remendetta has her hand up as well.
Hi, good evening, Melissa Raymondetta, Lakeside Drive. I had a question about like success rate of, you know, Eric was talking about the construction and kind of the painstaking process of working within these sensitive areas next to the vernal pool, crossing the wetlands, etc. Are there examples of situations and projects where this type of process has been successful, and looking down the road years later, these natural environments are kept intact? Just curious, appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you, Melissa. I don't know, does anybody on the board, on the commission, or Eric or Bob, anybody?
I am deferring to Eric.
I'm glad to jump on that. The short answer is yes, there are certainly examples, and I have probably half a dozen coming to mind from projects that I have worked on personally. And somewhat recently too, with great success. There is one in particular that's coming to mind where we've crossed a very big vernal pool, very similar to the way that we're doing this. And when I say big vernal pool, the vernal pool that we're talking about in this particular case, yes, it is a vernal pool, but it is very small. It is very small, and it is about maybe a foot deep. So as far as vernal pools, I don't want to disregard it or lessen its importance in any way, but it's not the most high value vernal pool I've ever seen. In fact, a lot of it, water that's being introduced to it is really just the product of runoff from the neighboring paved area at the realty office next door. I believe it's Reese Realty. But yes, we have had a lot of success with doing these things, doing them cleanly, and protecting the environment and having the habitat remain intact after the project years down the road. And part of that is the requirements of the stream crossing standards that we are mandated to adhere to. And I think we discussed last time that this particular design meets and exceeds all 6 of the stream crossing standards. So short version, and I know I'm rambling, short version is yes, it can be done. And during construction, it needs attention and it needs to be done right. And that's why we have these meetings to put conditions that provide oversight into that process.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Any other comments out there, Bob?
Sorry, Jean has her hand up.
Go ahead, Jean.
Hello, first I'd like to say that, no, this is Jean DiBattista, by the way. I think you guys know me, but 260 Lakeside Drive. First of all, I definitely appreciate hearing the care that's being taken here by Eric and all of you as it relates to this vernal pool. And I will also say that I'm not really as up to date on the fire station as I would like to be. But my one question is, in having attended meetings before where this was discussed, and I don't know if something changed, but is it absolutely necessary to put the, I think it was an entrance or exit here? Was that the best design, or was there a reason that was made? Because it seemed to me that was the reason that we were getting closer to the vernal pool, correct?
No, there's a crossing for the entrance and exit, but the vernal pool, it's the water line issue. It was either gonna have to be above ground or something, Eric, I can't remember, but this is the 2 pipes that need to bring water out to the fire station. The best way they could do it was to try to run it along the property line of the real estate place that's next door. And there is this small vernal pool that he's talking about is like in between the entrance exit and the neighboring property. So he's trying to do it as close to the property line as possible and putting, good, strict kind of barrier between the vernal pool and that work that's being done.
And how close is it getting to the vernal pool?
The trenching will be approximately, I think, 8 feet from the edge of the vernal pool in this case, unfortunately. Obviously, we'd like to be more. The alternative is that we would have to have a much, much bigger wetland crossing at the entrance and exit to the property, which does a whole lot of things. Cost impacts being definitely one of them, but also a lot more fill material, a lot more retaining wall, a lot more disturbance in the wetland, et cetera, et cetera. So while, obviously we acknowledge we prefer to stay as far away from the vernal pool as possible, in this particular instance, we believe that this is the right quote unquote compromise, for lack of a better term, as long as it's done properly.
8 feet is very close.
Well, to
Yeah, it is.
continue on that, we've had a couple of years to witness this area of vernal pool too. We've been working on this project for a while. And as Eric mentioned, it receives its water from concentrated runoff from the neighboring property. If that was not a concentrated runoff from their impervious surface, it would not generate the water into this one depression, creating a vernal pool. But it also dries up in the dry season. It's not a constantly wet condition. It's wet in the wet season, spring. We had a wetter summertime last summer, but it also in dry seasons it does dry up. So the conditions, the condition of construction will be going on for a year. So we can also identify when that installation can take place. So we're not doing it in a wet season. And we can take advantage of the seasons to do this work and not impact that area when it's holding water.
If I could just piggyback off of that for a moment, Madam Chair, Brian makes a lot of sense there, and I'm kind of embarrassed I didn't think of this before. But as you know, the nature of a vernal pool is that they dry up seasonally. But what we really care about with the vernal pools is amphibian action. And in the dry seasons, there's no amphibian action happening. So
right.
like Brian said, based on the timeline that we have and just the practicality of not making a mess of the place, probably makes sense to even condition that installation happens in the dry time of the year.
And the activity that will occur after the fire station is built won't further disturb the vernal pool?
No, we're well outside the area of that buffer for the vernal pool. It's only the installation of utilities because we cannot subject that piping to freezing. And we cannot install the piping across the wetland crossing because we're elevated above the wetland surface. So it's subjecting water lines for freezing conditions. So we need to get them in the ground, and this is the best way to get it out to Pleasant Street.
Okay, I see. Thank you for your comments.
Yeah, and that quality of the vernal pool that we've explained may impact your decision on whether you need any additional reviews on that because of the depth, the quality, and the source of runoff. So that's up to you.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a question too, now that, as far as the runoff, if you, once you backfill, when the lines are in and you're all set and you backfill it and you break up the sock and you put the mulch over, does it, like, you don't want to mound it if there is runoff that's consistent to fill in that vernal pool?
Yeah, and I think with Eric's oversight, we understand the sensitivity, and I think we can manage this issue, and it's not a long duration issue, but we can make sure it's stabilized for the long term.
Right, and did they put some kind of fencing around the area so that it stands out, like this
Yeah.
is an area to be cautious of?
Yes.
All
I mean,
right,
it may not be your, your most flamboyant, vernal pool, but it is certified. Again, that's why I'm just gonna say, that I think just a quick set of eyes is the best for the applicant, the town, you guys, the commission, and it would take just, it wouldn't stall. I mean, that's all I really want to see, even though, it is certified. So you're not going through the process of certifying it. You're just having another set of eyes that really have experience with vernal pools, also either adding an idea or just a quick collaboration. I don't think there's anything that we would lose doing that. I think it would just make sense to do it. Again, we've got 21 days before the next meeting. It could easily be done, and I think I'm gonna
Eric, is there any consideration to what can be done on the abutting property to redirect that stormwater?
We haven't looked at that specifically. What I do know is that the pavement on that property is very close to our property line. So I don't think there's anything that we're going to employ between the property line and the pavement, such as a swale or anything like that. And that would really kind of choke off the vernal pool long term too. So I would have to dig into that a little bit more, I think.
okay.
I want to stop the runoff because then the vernal pool.
Right, we choke
And
it
it's a
off.
good time to look at it. We're going into the March season and stuff, so I mean, the timing's kind of perfect for you.
Okay. Any other comments? Concerns? So do we want to
I
entertain?
think you have a hand up, so
I'm sorry?
look, I'm seeing somebody's hand up, honey.
Bernice Morrissey.
Thank you. Hi, Bernice Marcy, 150 Lakeside Drive, Bridgewater. First, a couple of things. As you're discussing the runoff for the neighboring property or the abutter, I don't know if the developer or the engineer, Eric, is aware that that was recently paved and because of a fire, the original structure is gone and that had to be rebuilt within, I don't know, 10 years ago or so. So maybe that area paved is impeding on it. Maybe it's not. I don't know, but that's something to think about, looking to what precipitated that grand old colonial being torn down was the fire. and why the house is now concentrated on the far side of the property and the parking lot abutting this property. And on a personal comment, I want to say hats off to the town for acknowledging the goodwill of this property having been donated. I don't know the family's name, but when I first moved to town, it was a grand old New England farmhouse. I can just picture the lace curtains in the windows, and I always thought, who lived there? You know, and I don't want to forget that. I wonder if anybody has a picture of the house. It would be nice to have that acknowledged, because we're losing a lot of our old flavor, New England flavor as far as architecture goes.
Maybe something in planning board. Right now, this is kind of like wetlands, but that would be a good question for planning board to follow up on and honoring that.
Yeah, that was just a thought I had as people were talking, because when you talk about the changes in that immediate lot, my other thought is, isn't the abutter on the left National Grid?
Yeah.
Is there any chance that they would grant an easement if you did have to, or did want to consider changing it? It's probably maybe even too late, because I do want to say I listened to the last meeting and I was very impressed with this developer, this engineer, particularly Eric's presentation a month ago. It was refreshing to see progressive development happening with regards to vernal pools, stream crossing standards, all of those things, which we don't often hear enough of. And that's why there's so much ecological restoration being required. So kudos to you guys. That's all I want to say.
Thank you.
Regarding that, I know the western part of the site is the majority of the wetlands. So we've taken the eastern part of the site, which is elevated above the wetlands. So having any additional land going toward National Grid is not helping the environmental issues that we're talking about.
Mm.
Yeah, in that case, we would actually have to get an easement from National Grid to the work area. We would actually have to trench through a great width of wetland. It's more disturbing than working in the buffer zone, unfortunately.
Well, I would be in my 12th year of retirement by the time you've got that easement.
Is that too?
Oh, and I have one more comment about the invasive species. I do happen to know that National Grid does keep the area under the high tension wires free of all growth. I don't know if it happens from radiation or electromagnetic field, but I know they do that because I've hiked it with all of the Hockomock Swamp under those retention wires. It's great to see birds there. So there is that element, and respecting what Mark brought up about the invasive species is very important too. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Bernice.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any comment? I am not seeing any other hands, Madam Chair.
Okay. So with no other comments or questions, where do we go from here? Do we entertain a motion to continue? Do we need to make any comment about like a
So
third party just looking at the vernal pool? What do we do?
I mean, my thought would be to make a motion to continue it. We could close it on the next meeting.
Yeah, next. Yep.
If you know, again, just that quick set of eyes, that's all we're asking in its time. Just in case, hey, Eric,
Strictly for the vernal pool.
Eric, great job. Like just that. I just think that is the best to do.
Yep. I agree. Okay.
Could
So
I possibly make a suggestion?
Sure.
Certainly, I don't have an issue with a third party ever reviewing my work. I welcome that. You know, I tend to agree with Marilyn that you know, the more eyes, the better. The only thing that I will bring up is that in this case, I don't know what else we would do. And at the same time, we are trying to make a certain scheduling work. So would it be possible that the commission...
Eric, let me address that.
Okay.
I was going to go there.
Okay.
A couple of things. So in addition to conservation signing off on this in the planning board, because of the watershed, there's also a requirement for an Army Corps of Engineers permit to be issued, which there's generally no predictability on how fast that can happen. Where Eric was going is there is some implications for not moving this along from a financial standpoint, that we will incur additional cost. I mean, I think where Eric was going, and I was going to suggest this too, is that this will be before the planning board on March 6th. To keep this moving along, you could conditionally approve the NOI subject to third party, all of the requirements that we've heard tonight, incorporating the town engineer's comments, having a third party. And, you know, the planning board could be the backstop to make sure that your concerns are being addressed. And if they weren't, then the planning board is not going to approve anything. So I think, again, I'm putting my town hat on, not my conservation hat. From a financial standpoint, we need to keep the train on the tracks, and we're already behind schedule. So is that where you were going, Eric?
Yeah, I was going to suggest maybe, you know, we have that third party review. I welcome that. But if it's possible to condition it, you know, that, you know, whatever they come up with, we will incorporate into the plan. Then maybe just keep it moving along that way. That's
I
all.
think, you know what, that's a great idea, guys. But from my standpoint, that's extremely fair. It's a great idea. It keeps it moving. Eric, if you're comfortable, we could give you some names that, you know, the commission is comfortable with. And, you know,
I think we go with the
I think
firm that
it's-
you mentioned, Marilyn, if they're able to do it.
yeah, I mean, BSC, I mean, Eileen, you know them, Harry, you know them. Again, they wrote the book on vernal pools. So if they're, and Eric, you're probably right. Maybe there's nothing else you can do, but there's always that slight chance you could do this. And I totally agree. Keep it moving. That's a great idea. We can have those in the conditions that, you know, the third
So
party.
it wouldn't be up to Eric to
Right on the
engage them.
train.
It wouldn't be up to Eric to engage them. The town will have to.
Oh, that's
engage
right, the
them.
town. And I can talk to you further on that because,
Yep.
yeah, perfect. I'm good. Back to the chair and the rest.
Okay, so do we have enough? We're gonna close it.
Is everybody comfortable with that plan?
I am.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay, so do we have a motion to close?
I will make a motion to close 1185 Pleasant Street, map 72, lot 1.
Second,
Thank you, Harry. Roll call vote, Eileen,
Aye.
Harry,
aye.
Marilyn,
aye.
and myself, Wendy, aye. Okay, and then,
You want me to help you with the motion?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I have 5 things that I've written down as far as conditions, I think.
Well,
I've
why
got,
don't you start then and include your 5, and if you miss something, I'll jump in.
okay, so, but do I make a motion to do it, or do you just
So
want?
Well, you
your-
could entertain, I'm sorry.
Your proposed motion would be to approve the NOI subject to the following.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve the NOI for 1185 Pleasant Street with the following conditions. A third-party review on the vernal pool. Conditions to do work during the dry season, especially next to the vernal pool. That the subject matter that Eric had mentioned in his letter, in response to something, but that be incorporated. That mulch that's used will be only natural and next to the vernal pool. And then, Marilyn had mentioned checking for clean soil. I
Yeah,
don't
I'd
know
like
what
to
the
have that in.
yardage was on that, cubic something.
I would have it every 1,000 cubic yards. And
Every
that can be
1,000
conditioned either in our order or the planning board's order, is correct, Bob?
I think it should be in your order.
Okay, that's fine. And I'll talk further with Bob on that too, on assisting town.
And I think the last piece, Wendy, was incorporating the comments from the town engineer.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, yep.
so does anybody have any other conditions that I missed?
I don't think so.
I think that's good.
So that would be the motion, if somebody wanted to make it, and then you could move for a second after discussion, if any.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve the notice of intent subject to the following conditions that Do we have to go through them all, or can we just
No.
say?
Yeah, no.
Great. Subject to the following conditions we just discussed. For 1185 Pleasant Street, map 72, lot 1.
Second.
And is there any discussion?
I think we got it all.
Okay, then you can vote.
All right, so, a roll call vote? It's getting late. Marilyn,
Aye.
Eileen,
Aye.
Carrie,
Aye.
and myself, Wendy, aye.
Excellent. Thank you all
Thank you,
very much.
guys.
Oh, Eric.
Thank you for meeting us halfway. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you so much.
Now can
Okay.
we go to Bob Marley movie?
Yep, just about 7:35, so I got time. All right, so we have Conservation Commission business up next. I just had a question. Was a violation on 456 Bedford Street addressed and taken care of with motorcycle parts out by the river?
It's been addressed. It hasn't been resolved. Actually, after the site visit earlier this week, Nicole and I went out there, and because it's before the planning board right now, and they
Yep.
won't take any action until it's resolved. We met with not the property owner, the other tenant, and advised them that if it's not cleaned up within 30 days, there's going to be a cease and desist for all businesses there.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Within 30 days of when you were out there?
Yep.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else? Marilyn, did you want to just make mention of,
Yeah, we can let the guys know that we had a prior conversation with Bob on a couple of items that we want to discuss as board members. One of them was the order of conditions, that before we have one signature to do them, that they just go out to all of us very simply, and a yay or nay. If there's anything missed, somebody's order of conditions didn't get in there or something was missed, we let each other know. And then, as we know, it's a one signature that gives the green light for either Wendy or myself to go in and sign. So Harry and Eileen?
I think we should all have email and approval before anything's signed.
Yep.
That's what we just went through.
Okay. And then I also discussed with Bob too that, we're going to see more third-party reviews with everything going on. And, Bob's got multiple hats, and it's, we can't ask his forte to be doing everything here. That's just not in his scope. So my take is it's always been the commission that provides, like different towns, one town provides just one person, like one outlet, LEC, an Echo or something like that. I think it's a good idea to give 3 that the board approves on. That gives the applicant a chance to get some competitive prices with it, but at least they're still what we like, what we know is to be reputable in looking at these sites. I'm not, and this is where me and Bob will differ, I'm not a fan of the applicant picking, because that's just like them picking the same one. Like, that's the point of a third peer. Like, so that's my take. The commission really should have the say on who does the peer review. So Harry, Eileen?
Well, and as I just want to add, I mean, I don't disagree with that approach, Marilyn. I just want to check with the town attorney to see legally if that is the correct approach.
I think that having them have just one choice could be against us. I mean, could go in the favor of that person, especially if it's someone known to them that they use often. I would be very much against that.
So I came up with 3. Certain people can add more too. And again, that can be a discussion with the town attorney, but it is my understanding from the past that that's how we've done it as a commission. And what I picked ones that were just wetlands only. So if we only need somebody for a wetland, and people that do both wetland and techno. So I'll be happy to send those out if Bob thinks that's okay. And then we can follow up on the next meeting if he's had a chance to talk to council.
Yeah, I would not send that out yet. Let's talk to council, then definitely put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Sounds good. Yep.
okay, sounds good. Any other concerns, any questions, anything people want to add? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, does anybody have anything else that they need to bring up? No?
Not
Okay,
offhand, I think those are good checks and balances to help each other out and stay on track, both with
Yep.
the staff and with the board, so I think we've got some
Okay.
good ideas going on.
yep, good. Under administrative items, we have minutes. Did people have a chance to check the January 11th minutes? I did. They looked okay to me.
Yeah,
No issues.
I'm on it.
I forget, do we do a motion to
Yeah,
accept?
motion
Yeah,
to
yep.
accept.
I would make a motion to accept minutes for 1/11/2024.
Thank you. Second?
Second,
Thank you. Third and fourth. And, yep, roll call vote, Marilyn,
Aye.
Harry,
aye.
Eileen. And myself, Wendy, aye. And with that, and no more other issues of business or anything, we have
Motion to
vote.
Molly.
motion to Molly. I'm going to the movies in case you didn't catch. I'm
Yeah,
going
you go to the Bob Marley movie, guys. Don't be thinking other stuff. All right. Thank you all. And
All right.
Bob, thank you for an extra long
Yes,
night
Bob.
tonight, but it was very appreciated moving forward. Thank
Have
you,
a good
guys.
night, everybody.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
All right, bye.
My new button with this thing.